It was a Friday evening in late autumn when my 10-year-old son Daniel came running into the kitchen with excitement written all over his face. His best friend, Ethan, had invited him for a weekend sleepover at their house. I had always trusted Ethan's family. His mother, Claire, was kind-hearted, soft-spoken, and a woman I had shared countless conversations with at school pickup lines and soccer practice sidelines. I smiled at Daniel's eagerness and nodded. "All right, sweetheart," I told him, brushing back his messy brown hair. "But remember, good manners. Be polite, help clean up, and listen to Claire." He nodded so fast it was almost a blur, and within an hour we were on the road, his overnight bag sitting in the back seat, stuffed with pajamas, a toothbrush, and his favorite book. The trees along the quiet suburban street glowed golden under the soft evening lights as we pulled up in front of Ethan's house. It looked warm and welcoming, a two-story home with a wide porch and twinkling string lights around the doorway. Claire welcomed us at the door with her usual calm smile. Ethan bounded down the stairs, nearly colliding with Daniel in a hug. I laughed softly at the sight. "Thank you for having him," I told Claire. She waved it off. "Oh, it's no trouble. The boys always have so much fun together." What none of us knew at that moment was that the evening would unfold in a way none of us expected. The boys spent the first part of the night building forts in Ethan's room, laughing loudly enough that I could still hear echoes when I drove away. Hours passed as they watched movies, whispered secrets under blankets, and tried sneaking snacks from the kitchen. But later, when the night grew still and the wind outside began to rise, something strange stirred in the house. At around 11 p.m., Claire, who had been tidying the kitchen, heard a noise upstairs. It wasn't the kind of noise that came from children giggling or playing. It was heavier, slower, as if something or someone was pacing the hallway. Thinking the boys were trying to sneak to the kitchen, she climbed the stairs and gently pushed open Ethan's door. Both boys were inside, tucked into their sleeping bags on the floor, whispering to each other with flashlights in hand. "Did you hear that?" Ethan whispered to his mom before she could even speak. Claire frowned. "Hear what?" "The footsteps," Daniel said softly. "They've been going up and down the hall." Claire tried to reassure them, telling herself it was probably just the wind rattling something loose. She kissed them both goodnight, turned off the lights, and went back downstairs. But as the clock crept past midnight, the sound returned, louder this time. Floorboards creaked. A door hinge groaned. Claire's heart began to pound as she stood frozen in the living room. She was certain she had locked every door and window. Taking a deep breath, she grabbed her phone and tiptoed upstairs. The boys, wide-eyed and frightened, were already sitting up when she entered their room. "Mom," Ethan whispered. "It's right outside the door." She placed a finger to her lips, urging them to stay quiet, and strained her ears. For a moment, silence hung in the air. Then, 3 slow knocks echoed from the end of the hallway. The boys clutched each other. Claire knew she had to act quickly. She locked the bedroom door and quietly dialed 911. With shaking hands, she explained the situation, her voice hushed but urgent. The dispatcher assured her that officers were on their way, but until then, she needed to keep the children safe. Inside the room, the minutes felt like hours. Every creak and groan of the house made the boys flinch. Daniel whispered that maybe they should climb out the window, but Claire shook her head firmly. Finally, the sound of sirens pierced the night. Red and blue lights flashed through the curtains. The heavy footsteps stopped instantly, as though whoever was inside had vanished. When officers arrived, they searched every corner of the house. The doors were still locked, windows secure, no signs of forced entry. Yet one detail stood out. The back door, which Claire was certain she had locked earlier, was now slightly ajar. The officers explained it could have been an intruder who fled when the sirens approached. They advised her to stay vigilant, double-check the locks, and call again if anything suspicious happened. That night, Daniel clung to me when I arrived to pick him up. His little face was pale, eyes wide, but there was also relief when I wrapped him in my arms. Claire stood in the doorway, still shaken, her voice trembling when she thanked the officers again. Over the next few weeks, life returned to normal. but the sleepover became a story the boys would never forget. They told it with dramatic flair, exaggerating the sounds and the knocks, but I knew underneath their excitement was a genuine memory of fear. Yet something beautiful came from it, too. The bond between Daniel and Ethan grew even stronger. They were not just friends but companions who had faced a scary night together. And Claire and I, once casual acquaintances, became close friends, united by a night that tested our strength and reminded us how precious safety and family truly are. Looking back, I realized that life has a way of surprising us. A simple sleepover meant to be filled with laughter and adventure turned into an unforgettable lesson in courage, trust, and resilience. And though none of us will ever forget the sound of those midnight footsteps, we also won't forget the comfort of knowing that even in frightening moments, we are never truly alone.